sleeping with wet hair?
Never.
Never? Why?
Never. You can get scalp fungus from that.
You are sleeping with millions of bacteria every night, and it's causing you to age faster, break out, and sabotage your skin journey.
Most people wash their underarms like this. 2 seconds here. I'm clean. You're not clean.
And the thing is, fixing it is easier than you think.
Why do I smell 2 hours after I get out of the shower?
Right.
And it's because you didn't focus on...
Wow, I feel like I just have a whole new bathroom and shower routine now after this.
That product should never go in your underarms. Look for things that have naturally antibacterial. And the biggest one that I can give you is...
So how bad is it to reuse a towel? Really?
Never, ever use a towel that was on a hook. That is a house for a load of bacteria. You need to wash your fingernails as often as you wash your hands.
Wow, that was a good start.
Yeah.
Okay.
You will see a big difference. That's when you're squeaky clean.
Welcome to Face It, the podcast that cuts through the noise of the beauty industry. I'm your host, Barry, and today we are diving into the unsexy parts of beauty. Think sweat, germs, odor, and of course, self-care with the woman who made Hygiene go viral. She calls herself Madame Sweat, but after this episode, you might be calling her your new hygiene coach. My guest today is Mary Futher, better known as Madame Sweat, your go-to voice for all things hygiene. She's behind Kaya Natural, a brand all about clean body care and honest hygiene talk. From sweat to odor to the stuff most people are too shy to talk about, she's here to break down what we're doing wrong, what actually works, and why clean starts way before skincare. Madame Sweat, welcome to Face It.
Oh, thank you so much, Barry. I'm pleased to be here. This will be fun.
We are so excited to have you and just learn all things hygiene. I feel like it's such a taboo topic for whatever reason, so I can't wait to just dive right into it with you.
Well, fire away.
So people talk about skincare all the time,
Yeah.
but no one really talks about hygiene. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think pre-COVID, I think hygiene had a bit of a stuffy reputation. And I think a lot of people thought, that's just something you learn when you're a little boy or a little girl, and it's pretty boring. That's up to your mom to teach you or your dad to teach you how to stay clean. But it's not about that anymore. It is about skin conditions. It's about preventing them by using proper hygiene practices. And also keeping in mind, post-COVID, also the world is getting hotter and we're sweating more. And when there's moisture on your body, there's trouble, which means rashes, skin irritations, just feeling uncomfortable, and odor. A lot more odor.
Right. Why do you think it's such an uncomfortable topic for people to just sit down and discuss? Or like, why are people so uncomfortable saying, yeah, I have this skin rash right now, or yeah, my armpits don't smell really good right now. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that it has, and I think it still is to some degree, uncomfortable for people to talk about it, because I think anything that's deeply personal, especially about your appearance or, your odor, is sometimes people are ashamed and think that people will perceive them as unclean. And I also think that conversations between one another, even with your girlfriends, those can be deeply, deeply emotional. If someone told you that you had body odor, Barry, I think you'd remember that for the rest of your life.
Right, and you feel offended.
You feel offended. And so there is also that fear of offending someone or hurting someone's feelings.
Right.
So you have to approach those conversations very carefully.
And when it comes to social media with this kind of stuff, do you think people are more into like looking like they have this clean girl aesthetic rather than actually being clean?
I think they want to hear about that because people right now, particularly women, we are all product junkies and we love buying things and we love feeling clean and trying new products. So I do agree with you that there is that clean girl aesthetic, but I will say, and I certainly see it on my social when I offer tips on things to prevent skin issues or people not even knowing that if they aren't cleaning that, they could be at risk of getting fungus, foot fungus, toenail fungus. There's all kinds of things that they are very receptive and very open and want more. So I would say that, yes, there's the aesthetic fun side, and then there's like, oh, I did not know that. OMG.
Right.
Yeah. So I try to be the OMG, here's what you need to know. Like, I love this one stat that a lot of people don't realize, but they teach young children to wash their hands after, they've used the washroom or before they eat a meal. But what no one teaches them is to wash their fingernails because your fingernails actually hold more bacteria than your hands. So why is it that we don't have fingernail brushes in our sink, next to our soap,
right,
to wash our fingernails, particularly right now with long fingernails being a real trend? That is a house for a load of bacteria. And I don't even want to give you the numbers on what can be stored in there, but you need to wash your fingernails as often as you wash your hands.
Wow. So it's almost like, kind of like back to the question where, people can show this routine they're doing and it shows them washing their hands and washing their sheets and washing everything. But then I'm sure you notice little things like, oh, but you didn't wash your fingernails, or there's a little thing missing here.
Well, even that's something that I even am trying to teach young mothers is when you're teaching your children hygiene habits, let them know that you have to scrub your fingernails too.
Yeah.
So have a fingernail brush next to the soap, and so that they remember to clean their fingernails, especially children, because they're outside playing or touching things. Those nails can harbor a lot of bacteria.
Yeah.
So if you learn that as a child, that'll stay with you for the rest of your life. And as adults, you're learning it now.
Yeah. No,
here on your podcast.
Exactly. Such a great tip. Like, wash your hands, but make sure you wash your fingernails.
Scrub your fingernails. Like, get that out. And that's not just a once a week or when you go and get your nails done. That should be
That's like multiple times a day, I feel like.
Right. That's
wow.
right.
Okay. Good to know.
Thank you.
So another question back to what we were speaking about before. What's one thing that you wish people would stop being so embarrassed about when it comes to their bodies?
Well, I think body odor is something, and I don't know that I can tell them to stop being embarrassed because I have a fear of smelling as well. So what I try to do is explain to people that there are precautions that you can take. It's not just the deodorant's job. There's a deodorant ritual, and that is how you wash your underarms. And people don't realize that it takes just as much work as washing your hands to clean your underarms. So I do think, to me, that's a big one because I think body odor is huge. Yeah. And because it's so hot and people are sweating a lot, it's going to get bigger and it's going to be a bigger problem.
Okay. And what's one trendy hygiene habit that you keep seeing online right now that you wish people would just stop doing? It's not helpful.
Well, there's it's women who of color or women who are melanin rich often get pigmentation in the underarm region. And some women are really uncomfortable with it when they're at the gym or at the beach or wearing a sundress, and you can see dark pigmentation under their arms. So people have come out with all kinds of crazy hacks online to brighten or whiten that area and even the skin tone. So they're recommending things like glycolic acid. And what happens when I see people putting glycolic acid on their underarms, it makes me crazy because the pH of your underarm is very different than the pH of your face. So it's not a product that was designed for underarms. And so what happens is it's too strong. And yes, it will work on odor because it changes the pH of the underarm, so it'll prevent odor for a period of time. And it can also brighten the underarm area. The problem is it's what happens after, and that's rebound pigmentation, which is it goes away and then it comes back with a vengeance because you irritated your underarm so badly with a product that's far too strong.
Yeah.
And I've even seen derms recommend that, and it really makes me crazy because underarms is my business, and I do know everything about underarms, and that's why I'm shocked that a doctor would recommend using a product with a pH that high on your underarms because the skin is so much thinner, and not to mention you shave and remove hair, so that area is ultra sensitive.
Yeah.
So that product should never go in your underarms. You should only use products that are formulated for underarms in your underarms.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was a good myth buster.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people also believe that like you can take your skincare down to your body or to your armpit. No. Okay.
In some cases, you can, but your underarms are so different. They're moist, dark, warm, and wet.
Yeah.
And they are thinner skinned, and the pH is very different. And you shave it. You don't shave your face. So that's why you treat your underarms very, very differently than you do your face or the rest of your body.
Wow. Okay. Well, speaking of myths, I want to bust a bunch of different hygiene myths with you.
Okay.
Starting with showering. So people think once you take a shower, if you come out smelling clean, you are clean. Is that true?
It's okay. So first of all, you have to look at your body parts and which ones produce the most bacteria. And those are the ones that you really need to focus on. So you actually do not need to wash your arms and legs every day because they're not getting, they're not sweating.
Yeah.
They're not, they may feel a bit. If you're at the gym, different matter.
Right.
But just on an everyday basis, a lot of derms will recommend that you don't wash your arms and legs every day because it just creates a lot of skin barrier disruption with harsh soaps. So you can skip that if you didn't have a very active day. You can skip washing your arms and legs maybe every second day. But your smelly bits, and the smelly bits are ones that have high numbers of sweat glands. They produce sweat, and produce sweat then feeds the skin microbiome and the bacteria, and that's where you start to smell. So the groin, the underarms, your feet, and even in the chest area too, if you have skin folds, you have to get in there. So that's where you will stay clean. Because a lot of people say to me, and this is a really good analogy about what you just said, which is, why do I smell 2 hours after I get out of the shower?
Right.
And it's because you didn't focus on the area, unless you're at the gym or, it's 110 degrees out, that's a different matter. But if you didn't focus on your smelly bits, you won't stay fresh as long. Because when you're wearing pants or underwear, there's no airflow in the groin for both men and women, and also anywhere there's hair. So particularly for men, bacteria loves to live around the hair follicle. So if you just swiped it clean, really quick. Most people wash their underarms like this. 2 seconds here. I'm clean. You're not clean.
Wow.
It's the same as washing your hands. That's why they said 20 times. So if you had a surgeon that went like this and went, okay, I'm ready to operate, would you be very happy about that?
No.
Same thing with the underarms. So there's yesterday's bacteria. There's yesterday's deodorant residue. So they say the number is 20 seconds each underarm. And I'll be honest with you, that when you are washing, I count to 20, which seems insane. But I just know that if I'm moving my soap, and it also depends what you wash it with, and I'll get to that later. But if I'm moving that soap around my underarm 20 times, I know that my deodorant is going to perform way better.
Really?
Than if I just swipe it.
Wow.
And with a tutti frutti soap that doesn't have any ingredients that will actually help and lift the results of the deodorant. So that's one. Also, your feet, getting in between your toes and cleaning those as well. And over the toes, like as well, over that nail bed, making sure that you're lifting your foot up and washing it. And that's why the incidence of toe fungus, I don't know if you're watching network television, but there's a lot of ads for toe fungus products. And it's because a lot of people are getting toe fungus. It does happen more frequently in older people because they can't lift their foot up to wash it. So they're just letting the soap fall down. And I know a lot of people do that in the shower, just let the soap fall down. Okay, that's washing my feet. Well, that's not washing your feet. You have to really get in there and scrub. Same thing. 20 times. So I just count when I'm in, and same thing with the groin, 20 times in the groin area so that you don't get odor down there as well. And because we're all wearing constrictive clothing, sitting all day, it gets kind of sweaty down there.
Yeah.
So keeping that really clean. And for women with larger breast size, they have skin folds in that area, getting inside the skin fold. That's when you're squeaky clean.
Yeah. So you said 20 seconds for the groin area, 20 seconds for the underarms. What about like the routine? Like what's the products you should be using for these specific areas? Like is there any specific ingredients people should be looking for, specific products? What does the routine look like to wash your underarms and your groin?
Well, you know what? I always say to people, you shouldn't have just one soap in your shower. You should have a minimum of 2 different types of soap. So you have that, I always say the Tutti Frutti one. So buy whatever you like and whatever scent you like, and you wash your arms and legs, go for it because you love that smell. But for the smelly bits, you also have to watch the fragrance, especially in the groin area. But you need something, and now I'm not suggesting that people go use hand sanitizer on their smelly bits,
right.
But I always like something that's a little more powerful than a Tutti Frutti soap. And so I make natural products, and because I do believe in the power of plants and herbs, and I use a soap that's made with salt. And the reason that I love that is, think of prosciutto. This is a crazy analogy. I sometimes use food analogies, but people understand it. So think of prosciutto. It's raw pork, but it's cured. And it's cured with salt. So if I gave you raw pork and you ate that, you would be sicker than a dog. But because I cured it with salt, it killed the bacteria. So you can have and enjoy prosciutto.
Right.
And that is the same concept for smelly bits. I remember when I first created this product called the Underarm Bar, the chemist who was the soap maker at the time said there's nothing like salt for smelly feet or smelly underarms.
Wow.
So I use sea salt in the bar, so it's not as aggressive as you'd find with like heavily alcoholed hand sanitizers. I also use apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
So we put it. Believe me, the bar doesn't smell like apple cider vinegar. But when they're making it in the factory, it's awful. Everybody there wants to kill me because it smells awful. But we conceal that. And so by having apple cider vinegar and salt, like look for things that have naturally antibacterial. And then the biggest one that I can give you is sea salt. Look for soaps with sea salt. And if ours has the added bonus of apple cider vinegar, that is terrific for areas where you have sweat glands and bacteria. So it would do the heavy lifting. And that's why I said then get really in for men. There's a technique for men. They have to get down to the hair follicle and really get in there, not just scrub over top of the hair, get into the base with their fingers of their hair follicle so that bacteria doesn't live around the hair follicle. Because the more hair you have, the more odor you will have, because that's where odor likes to live. That's why people have problems with the groin as well. So it's a big key is that, and I know it sounds, maybe not so pleasant, but it is a fact. We have human hair, and human hair harbors bacteria.
Yeah. So with the salt in the product, would you say that more so helps with the cleanliness or the odor, or does that go hand in hand?
It helps with the odor.
Okay.
It helps with the bacteria, which then, yes, you could say it goes hand in hand.
Okay.
I will say, though, I would never recommend using that on the rest of your body because your arms and legs will dry out terribly if you use something like a salt. So that's why I said in the shower, you should have multiple products address different things. It's just, like your hair. You buy hair shampoos for certain things.
Right.
So it's the same with your soaps. Choose them wisely. And there's no rule that you have to have one that will do the whole trick. You can use, as I said, I have one for underarms, and then I have one for my body.
Okay, awesome. And I want to talk about after the shower.
Right.
So how bad is it to reuse a towel, even if it still smells fine?
Well, there's all kinds. It's kind of controversial in some ways, but they've done all kinds of microbiologists have done all kinds of studies, and where there is moisture and humidity, you will have bacteria. That's just a given.
Okay.
And the thing about towels is that towels are made of cotton, and cotton, terry, takes a long time to dry, and your bathroom is moist and warm. So you've got a perfect scenario for a Petri dish. So they often say the longer your towel takes to dry, the more bacteria you will have because it will start growing as the moisture is. So if your bathroom is very humid, and some people don't have proper fans or proper ventilation
Right.
in their bathrooms. So their towel, and if they're really thick, may take a full 24 hours
Yeah.
to dry, which means it's already got bacteria growing on it. So the answer is depends on the towel, depends on the conditions in your bathroom. And most people are busy. I get that. They're not going to be running a load of wash every single time they're drying off their body. But I would definitely recommend, trying to change your towels twice a week if you can. The other thing that's really good is heated towel racks because it'll help them dry faster.
Oh, that's smart.
Right? Like if you want to leave it on.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes forget to turn mine on and I think, then I'm not going to get that mildew. Even if you can't smell it, I know it's drying faster, so I
Right.
know it's not growing. It's bacteria.
Yeah. So would you say that, let's say someone followed all the right steps in the shower, right? They washed all their bits correctly, everything's all good, we're all clean, bacteria free. Then we get out of the shower and we use this towel that's been sitting there. Did that kind of just cancel everything out, would you say?
Well, you're basically rubbing, that bacteria, and gosh knows what else is on the towel. Like,
Right.
I don't know what you did the last time. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, did you throw it on the floor? Did
Right.
it fall on the floor? Like, so there's all those things.
Yeah.
And some people even dry their, like, where you dry your towel, as I mentioned, a heated rack, but a lot of people put their towels on hooks, which is the worst thing you could do. I would
Really?
never ever use a towel that was on a hook.
Why?
Because the towel is, I can't show you here, but the towel is not spread out to dry. So guess what's growing in all of that? And I can guarantee you that towel smells the worst. But it's amazing how many people have hook towel racks
Yeah.
in their bathroom. And it's like, no, you have to open it up and allow it to dry properly. So I
Right.
would never reuse a towel that's been drying on a hook, ever.
Okay.
I would want a fresh towel. And FYI, here's another little thing is that, and I love this stat, but the sun, and especially because you're based here in Florida and you have UV rays all the time, the sun is nature's sanitizer. So I will tell you, if you're having trouble getting that smell, even after you wash your towels, if you can leave the towel in sunlight, if it's a high UV index that day, the UV index is like a natural sanitizer. It will get the smell out of the towel.
Wow.
And it will get rid of the bacteria, basically. So they say to do that with your shoes, too. If you and this is a little fun fact. I'm kind of digressing here for a minute, but this was such a good way to illustrate it. I had a young girl on my team who is from Southeast Asia. And she said to me, we were doing a segment on odors in your shoes. And she said, I find it so odd in Canada that, where I'm from, is that when people go to the gym, they take their shoes off and they put them in their closet. And I went, why do you find that odd? And she said, because there's no air or any circulation in your closet and your shoes are going to stink. She goes, when we come home from the gym or wearing our running shoes, we put them outside in the sun so that the sun can sanitize the inside of the shoe. And I
Wow.
thought, that is such a great way of explaining it. She just thought it was an odd custom that North Americans have of putting our shoes in the closet after we've just finished wearing them.
Right.
She said you should be putting them outdoor, if you can, outdoors, and let them air out. And if the sun, if it's a high UV day or a sunny day, they won't smell.
I'm just still shook that the sun is a natural sanitizer. Like
Yeah,
I
it
did
is.
not know that. Wow.
I think in the 60s it was really big for women to put, because it was usually women that was doing laundry, there was wash lines. Like, I don't know if you've seen it in old
Yeah,
movies
no,
where
of
they're putting up the
course.
wash. There was a reason. I mean,
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And of course, now it's been outlawed, and most places are not allowed to have, laundry hanging outside.
Mm-hmm.
But was a method in their madness.
Wow.
It was the UV rays are very good for deodorizing and getting rid of bacteria in fabric.
Wow. I feel like I just have a whole new bathroom and shower routine now after this.
You'll be putting everything out in the balcony or
literally,
wherever.
My
but
boyfriend's
not
gonna
a
be
bad
like,
idea.
"What are you doing?"
I know.
Okay, wow. And what about sheets and pillowcases?
Oh, that's a big one. And it's funny because last week I just did a television segment on that, and they were asking me about bed hygiene. Mm-hmm. And here's a different element because the statistic that I read, I'm sure it's very similar in the United States, but in Canada, 38% of people sleep with their pets. Or should I say, their pets sleep with them.
Yeah.
Which means, oh boy, sleep hygiene is even more important about how frequently you wash your sheets and pillowcases.
Right.
So, and what kind of sheets and pillowcases you buy. So, number one, I'll address the frequency of they recommend cleaning everybody's sheets once a week.
Okay.
But I will say you have to be a realist. If you're a busy mom, you've got 2 kids, and you're running around and working full time, it's really hard to make time to clean your sheets. It's a big job to strip your bed every week. So I get that. But definitely you've got to do it for the pillowcases. That's a minor effort, and your face is there. And if any of your pets has been on your pillowcase, you 100% have to, because you can get, if you're acneic, prone, or oily skin, just skin cells in general, you really, really must wash your pillowcases every week. And then sheets and towels, or sheets, pardon me, once a week is optimum, but you can get away with every second week. Now, if you have pets, keep them off the sheets. So always have a protective blanket and try to keep the pet on that protective blanket that you can wash every week because of the hair, etc. But they also said what you should do is look for things like bamboo, which has a tight weave, or Egyptian cotton. The fibers are woven closer together, which means pet hair can't adhere to them as well.
Okay.
Also static, because static will attract the hair. So, and if you're a night sweater, you'll want to have something with a tighter weave. So never anything with synthetic, because they'll hold the odor, like a polyester. Anything with a polyester blend will hold odor more. So they always said really pay attention when you're buying your sheets to spending a little extra money to make sure that you have something that has a very tight weave, which will prevent, as I said, pet hairs, etc. But also, it is not going to hold odor from sweating, because people sweat at night. A lot of people sleep hot, and that's what they recommend, is something that is cooler if you sleep hot, so that you feel that you have somewhat hygienic. I also believe in like airing out your bed. So Saturday morning, maybe give it a good, if you're not going to wash sheets, give it a good air out so you get some fresh air circulating in there. I have this other little trick that I use because I want my sheets to smell fresh. So I have this sweat powder and it's in a spray bottle. I spray, and it's just natural powders, but I spray, and it has like magnesium in it. It's
nice.
Yeah, so it has a little bit of magnesium. I spray the sheets, but it's like a fine mist on the sheets, so that they just smell a little bit fresher, because they get a bit stale if you don't wash them every week.
Something like a linen spray, because I was just going to ask you about that.
Well, see, here's the thing about the linen spray. I know people like doing that, but and in my case, I sweat. So I want something that will also absorb. So that's why I use a sweat powder, so that there's a little bit of absorption. There's starches in there that will also, but it's just a fine mist. It'll absorb that sweat. Okay. So it'll stop and there's, believe it or not, the one that I use also has apple cider vinegar, which will stop the odor from bacteria. So I do treat it that way. And then there's a whole another thing, and I think you had mentioned earlier to me when we were talking before the show, is about mattress care. So I've got some really good learnings on mattress care. Oh yes,
we definitely have to touch on that.
On that one too.
But so for the linen spray, it depends on the ingredients, just like anything else, because it's kind of just like, if you don't have something that's going to actually soak up the bacteria and the sweat, it's more so just masking a smell, but not actually cleaning.
Correct.
Okay.
Those are just meant to mask, and because it's alcohol, water, and fragrance. So that's essentially what's in that. The alcohol will help a bit, but it's not going to clean. I remember, it's just a freshener.
Okay.
Yeah, not a shampoo.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so another myth I want to bust is natural deodorants, because I feel like natural deodorants are something we're supposed to use, but they never work.
I know. You just said, and I make natural deodorant, and when I say I know, it's something that everyone says, like those exact words. Oh, I've tried natural deodorant, but it doesn't work. So first, let me explain the difference between antiperspirant and deodorant. Okay. So that we understand, because they have very different jobs. And I think when people understand that, then they can make a better decision. So antiperspirant contains an ingredient called aluminum chloride. And the science community has said they've never found conclusive evidence that it causes cancer. However, there's been many articles published that it alludes to, well, we found aluminum chloride in women's breast milk. We found aluminum chloride in blood samples. We found aluminum chloride, in skin tissues. And so then everyone's sent it off the alarms and said, I don't want that ingredient in my body. And how it works is when you spray or use a stick deodorant or antiperspirant, aluminum chloride forms a gel. So you apply it and then you wait for it to form a gel, and it forms a gel and it goes into your pores. And it plugs the pore so you don't sweat, which means if there's no moisture, then there's no bacteria, then there's no odor. So they do the job. They keep you dry and they keep you odor free. The problem is it has to have aluminum chloride in it in order to work. So if you don't want that in your bloodstream, and that's why natural deodorants became so popular, is because people said, no, it's not natural to plug my pores and prevent myself from sweating in the underarms. But a lot of people also have said, but I don't want wet underarms and I want something to work. Good point too. So my recommendation is if you choose to take the precautionary principle and not use antiperspirants and you choose a deodorant, remember, it's not one size fits all with natural deodorants. It might be a little bit of a trial and error kind of situation that works with your body chemistry. But what I will say is that in order so you don't get odor breakthrough, use that step that I just talked to you about with that underarm bar. Use that trick first, because you are protecting yourself, because it leaves a salt film on your underarms.
Right.
So it's kind of like the prosciutto. It's curing your underarms so that when they start sweating, there's salt there to stop that bacteria, in addition to using a natural deodorant. So you have a better chance of improving the results of your natural deodorant if you use that step in the shower first. So I call that my priming step. So that's piece of advice number one.
Yeah.
Piece of advice number two is, again, a little bit of try and error, but you have to give yourself time, because people talk about the detox period between changing from antiperspirant to changing from natural deodorant. And I will tell you, I did the exact same thing when I first was developing it. I was using antiperspirant because I sweat terribly, and I said the same thing. Oh, natural deodorants never work for me. I've got to find a way to make them work.
Yeah.
So I was trying all these natural deodorants, and I was sending them back to the chemist after a week. I go, it's so weird. It worked for a week, and then it stopped working. This is bad. I don't like this formula. Make another one. And so finally, on the third time I did that, my chemist said, Mary, were you using antiperspirant before you started doing this testing? And I said, yes, because I could never get a natural deodorant to work for me, so I've always used it. And he said, okay, well, just so you know, he said, and it's not marketing BS, he said, there's scientific studies that show when you stop using a product like an antiperspirant and you allow yourself to sweat, your body needs to go through this, they call it detox. I mean, it's not a detox, really. We know that you can only detox through your kidney or your liver, but they call it a detox, just mean purge. Your body goes through a purge period because it suddenly overproduces bacteria, because it's like, hey, wait a minute. I used to never sweat. Now there's all this moisture here.
Right.
So it overproduces bacteria. So you suddenly, like, the deodorant can only handle so much.
Right.
The deodorant stops working. And he said it's usually at about the first week. And then he said, and then people throw out the deodorant. He goes, just like you've been saying, this doesn't work. And he said, you have to push through. And he said that period of time is usually anywhere from 1 week to 30 days.
Right.
He said, before you judge your deodorant as not working, give it time. But what I liked was adding the extra step, because that was my insurance policy that I would never stink, was making sure that I wash my underarms with something that will prevent the bacteria. So what I will say to people is there is no such thing as one size fits all. Some people like this brand. Some people said this one worked, but this one didn't, which is 100% true. It's really what your body chemistry is. But I will tell you, you will have greater success if you do that step in the shower, which quite frankly, you should be doing even if you're wearing antiperspirant.
Right, yeah.
Because at 110 degrees, I don't care what antiperspirant it is, it's going to be pretty hard for you not to sweat in the kinds of temperatures that we're getting now in the summer. So I will say everyone should learn to do that 20 times with an naturally antibacterial bar in their shower before they apply their deodorant, and they will have better success. Will I say that you're going to have 100%? No, because I don't know what what works for you. But what I can say is do all the right steps. Chances are you'll have better success with natural deodorant if you do that step first.
I feel like this all ties in, like this is just like a skincare routine, right? Like
Yeah.
the skincare routine on our face that we all talk about and everyone posts about online, like it's the same thing. Like if you're not cleaning your face properly, then
Right.
your makeup products or your skincare products aren't going to penetrate into your skin properly.
Right.
Same thing as with your deodorant, it sounds like if you're not cleansing your armpits properly and
Yeah.
cleaning and getting the
Priming.
bacteria, priming,
Right.
right? Like before makeup. If you're not doing that step properly, then the rest is not going to follow. Right?
You're giving yourself a much greater chance of not smelling or at least pushing through a few extra hours
Right.
because you did that preparation step. And it's not a big deal. You just have to remember to have that extra product and count.
So it's almost like a purge, I feel like.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is in a way. Yeah.
Right. So speaking of that, what actually, like, what's the point of sweating? Is it something that we actually need, or should we be trying to like cover it up?
Well, first of all, your body sweats because if you're for instance, when you're at the gym and you're aggressively exercising, your body sweats to cool you down because it doesn't want your body temperature to go crazy, which could cause health issues or a heat stroke. So the sweat is there for a function. It provides a function, which is to cool your body down. So sweating is good. Now, when people say, oh, sweating detoxes me, it doesn't really, because what's in sweat is usually mostly water, a little bit of protein, and lactic acid. And like I'm talking a very small amount of lactic acid and protein, mostly water. So, however, and salt. So when you sweat a lot, there is a little bit of salt. And so removing that sweat is quite important, particularly in sensitive areas. So I know with myself, if I'm running on the treadmill, etc., and I often, a lot of people sweat in the chest area, but it's sticking in under my sports bra, I can get a rash right underneath if I don't shower right away. If I let that sit wet, I will get a rash because the salt and the moisture trapped inside that bra will cause a rash. So it's super important to get rid of that sweat. But it's also super important to sweat because I don't want to have a heat stroke from my body temperature going way up. So it does provide a very healthy function.
Okay. And then some people say that they don't really sweat or they don't really smell. Is that really a thing?
Yeah, that is. In fact, here's an interesting factoid is, and I can't remember the name of the cell, Asians, 50% of Asians do not use deodorant because they do not possess the same chromosome that Caucasians do or other ethnicities do, which causes body odor.
Wow.
And I think it's the YYC. I've seen a few videos on it. I can't remember the name, and someone may comment on your show saying which chromosome it is, but they do not possess that. So you will find, I used to have a lot of Asians on my team, and 50% of my team did not wear deodorant.
Wow.
They did not possess.
At the deodorant company.
Yeah, at the deodorant company, they did not possess that chromosome that white people do. They just did not have. They did not have body odor when they worked out.
Wow.
So it's 100% true.
Wow. How lucky.
Yeah, I know. I'm jealous.
So then also when it comes to odor, can shaving make odor worse?
Yes. No, that doesn't make it worse. It makes it better.
Oh, it makes it better.
It makes it better. So that's why men tend to have, because less men than women, 80% of women remove underarm hair for aesthetic reasons. But it also reduces body odor significantly because body odor likes to bacteria hangs around that hair.
Right.
So in the hair follicle, so if you are clean shaven, there's nowhere for it to hide. It's just on a clean surface.
Right.
So if you want to reduce, and same thing with the pubic region as well, if you remove hair in the bikini line anyway, but that's why you need to wash carefully over top of any hair because that is where odor can thrive, and men particularly. I love to do special videos on how men should wash their underarms because most men do keep hair there. And that's why they tend to have a lot of stronger body odor.
Yeah. And I feel like men aren't, not all men, but most men aren't as particular with their hygiene routine and how they wash themselves. So
yeah, I think that's changing though now too, is that, you know, if you can smell yourself, then, you know, it's kind of unpleasant. And so you think, jeepers, am I making, you know, other people feel uncomfortable too?
Right.
So,
Would you say when the hair starts growing back for your, let's say for your underarms or your pubic region, once the hair starts growing back, the odor starts growing back with it, or?
Well, it's when the hair is long enough for it to hide. Yes, it's where the bacteria hides, right?
Okay.
It's the follicle.
Right.
So, you know, if it's really short hair, it's harder, but hair in the underarm, well, particularly in the underarm, I've never let my underarm hair grow that long, so I don't know what mine would be like, but certainly in the pubic region, it's coarse and curly. So it makes it easier for bacteria to get trapped. So I'll speak to the groin for sure. It will be, you know, not stubble. It's pretty hard to hide in the stubble because it's still easy to wash over the stubble. But as soon as it starts getting longer, that's when you need to be more careful about the way you wash.
Okay. And what about deodorant buildup? Can that cause
100%.
odor? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, when people are washing their underarms like this with like just one little swipe, it's not enough to get rid of deodorants because deodorants do contain waxes too if it's a stick deodorant. So you've got to get that off. So yesterday's residue is not a good idea because it could also have bacteria trapped on it as well. You want those underarms and that groin squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, you will avert body odor for much longer during the day.
So how do you know if your deodorant routine is actually healthy for you? Like what ingredients should everyone be looking for? I feel like salt, you've said salt, but I feel like it's not a popular ingredient. Like what should people be looking for to know that they have a healthy deodorant routine?
Okay. Well, the salt in the bar, soap's a different challenge because there's not that many on the market, right? That are designed for the underarms. So that one is, and some deodorants do, and it's interesting because I'm formulating a body spray deodorant right now to be used at the gym because a lot of people don't want to shower at the gym.
Yeah.
But they also don't want to smell on the way home. So, and I find using body mist, which I know people are doing, which is putting fragrance over top of sweat, I find that just not very hygienic. So I'm coming with something that will deliver to consumers both, which is it's a deodorant in a body spray. So you get both.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think that one will do well. But back to your question about what they should look for. There's so many different formulations. I'll do it this way. I'll tell you what not to look for. What not to look for. And so, okay, this is my pet peeve is coconut oil. Because I've seen it stain when it gets warm, it stains white shirts. And people think it's the sweat. But if you have a lot of coconut oil in your natural deodorant, I will tell you, if you're wearing a white shirt, good luck with that. And it's super hard to get out of because it's oil. That's one thing. I'm also not a big fan of baking soda, which is used in a ton of natural deodorants. But I'll be really honest with you. When I first formulated my natural deodorant, retailers told me that if I put baking soda in, they wouldn't buy it because they take too many returns with people that have an allergy to baking soda. Because baking soda is very abrasive and alkaline. And it's not, it does keep odor away. That's why we put it in our fridge to suck up the odors from the fridge, but it's not skin friendly. And that's why I never recommend baking soda in skincare products. So I will say, if you are very sensitive in your underarm area, do not buy anything. Even if it's low levels of baking soda, just stay away from baking soda altogether. So coconut oil, baking soda. What else is in there that I think? It depends, again, on your skin. But those are two big ones in deodorant that I'm not a fan of. And I see a lot of people struggle with too.
Okay.
High levels of fragrance. And I will not say which brand this is, but they are famous. And they're also famous for causing burns. And it's chemical burns on the skin. They wouldn't define it as that, but they put way too much fragrance in. Way too much. So put it this way. Fragrance will also cause a reaction. So it's okay to have a fragrance in a deodorant, but you want it nice and mild and pleasant. If you pull the lid off and it knocks your socks off, and you have sensitive underarms, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You're going to have a rash from high levels of fragrance.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. It's not to say that if you want fragrance free, you can, but it doesn't give the same sensory.
Right.
I put it in very lightly so that there's some sensory, but not enough to irritate the skin.
What about treatments like laser hair removal? Can that help with removing odor?
You know what? There's varying. It's so funny that you should say that because there's varying responses to laser treatment. Again, very individual on it, but I have heard of cases where it intensified the odor. And I'm not saying that you go and get laser and it's not everyone.
Yeah.
But I actually I produced a video on that because I got feedback from some of my followers. We looked into it, and in some cases, because of the irritation to the skin, it changes the microbiome of their underarms, and some people experienced more odor.
Wow.
Can I tell you the science behind it? No. But I know that's, if you look it up, you will see that some people experience that as a side effect.
Yeah.
That video went crazy viral.
Yeah, I wonder why
because
that
people
is.
said, oh my God, that explains it.
Yeah.
So it's out there. I'm sure that if they looked into the science, and for some reason, I always do, and I might have on it, because normally I wouldn't put a video out unless I really looked into peer-reviewed science on it. But I know that it does change the microbiome because it is using heat.
Yeah.
So it does change the surface of the skin, and if it's even if it's done properly, it can change that microbiome, and that's where some people say, oh, after that I had intense odor issues.
Wow. Okay. Well, good to know. I was curious.
Not everyone though.
Yeah, I was
Right.
curious because you mentioned how like shaving will help a lot with odor, like because the odor and the bacteria sticks to the hair follicles. So
Right.
what if you just burn the hair follicle off? Then
Yeah.
what? But
Yeah.
wow,
But-
interesting.
But odor does not. Like odor travels in it's bacteria.
It'll find a way.
Yeah,
It'll
it's
find a way.
bacteria.
Yeah.
So it finds a way,
Yeah.
right? So, if it can't hide in the hair, it will find a way to be living on your skin.
Right,
So,
right. So I want to kind of shift over to home hygiene a little bit more.
I love this.
So people talk about their skincare routine all the time, but not so much about their environment. How much would you say your home environment can impact your skin?
I think again, depending on your skin type,
Yeah.
vary because, everyone has different sensitivities, and some are more sensitive and some are much more robust.
Right.
So there are certainly things that I would say impact. Well, we talked about pillowcases, first of all. That's a big one. But your bathroom is also another area of, what you're washing your face with. That's a huge one. Is, bacteria-filled face cloths, or if people are using face cloths that are too abrasive for their skin, can definitely make an impact as well. Also, just like your toothbrush, that's a big one. Like not changing your brush often enough. Even just now, can it make your skin sick? No, but can it introduce bacteria? We did a piece once on, particularly on electric toothbrushes, because they're fabulous. They really do the job. I'm a big fan of electric toothbrushes, but I always wondered, what is that gunk that I always see on the base, the base?
Yes.
And I'm so clean, like I rinse my thing very carefully and then I put it on. So inside the brush, when you clamp it on. So
You're talking about when you put the toothbrush back on the charger.
back on the charger. And then the next
underneath,
day, and underneath. And I'm like, I wash that brush before I put it on the charger. And the next morning, I pick up the charger and there's this disgusting ring around the bottom.
It's like yellow.
And I was like, why is that there? So we decided to do an investigative report. And
I can't wait to hear.
What is on that charger? Like, why is that dirty when I washed my toothbrush? Like, I
Right.
rinsed it off, I cleaned it, and I put it back on. And basically, it's the design of the toothbrush. All of them are like this, is that when you clamp on that brush, so all the saliva and the toothpaste and blah, blah, blah slides down inside.
Good.
And that's when, even if you're rinsing it with hot water, I even spray like isopropyl alcohol. I have a little thing from the dollar store that's 70% isopropyl. So I do that, spray it so that I know that that's clean. It's still the saliva and all the debris from your mouth has still slipped down inside the unit. and then that's why it shows up the next day.
That's horrible.
When it's drained, and that's what it is saliva and your toothpaste residue, which is super gross.
That's horrible.
I know, but there's nothing you can do except wipe it off.
Okay. So what about leaving toothbrushes uncovered? How can that affect our hygiene?
Well, that's a good one too. And it's so funny you should say that, because I was thinking that this morning when I was staying in my hotel room. I have a little cover for my thing. I am definitely putting it on because here's the thing is toilets, most people flush the toilet and do not close the lid.
Right.
And the aerosols in the toilet spread throughout the bathroom. So there you go. Your toothbrush is sitting on the counter. Are those aerosols from the toilet floating over, your sink and whatever's sitting out?
Right.
Probably yes.
Yeah.
So a good tip is always close the lid before you flush your toilet, so that the aerosols do not spray into the rest of the bathroom, because it's super unhygienic.
Smart.
Now in terms of covering your brush, no, because now you just enclosed a wet brush.
Right, that's the other end of
you're
it.
going to grow bacteria. So that's why I don't like to put the lid back on, because I know that I'm going to have to sterilize my toothbrush before I use it again.
Right.
However, it does protect it. But I think, well, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? So no, I wouldn't say closing your open toothbrush, but I would say before you put it in your mouth and before you put the toothpaste on, you may want to rinse it, like kind of counterintuitive. Rinse it before you use it the next time. And there's nothing wrong with a little spray of that dollar store isopropyl 70%. You can buy it anywhere for next to nothing. Spray that on the brushes before you put it in your mouth.
Okay. And before you do any of this, close the toilet seat.
Always.
Okay.
And it's a habit. Like you have to remind yourself to do it, but you do have to do it. And that's the problem with public washrooms. 90% of them don't have a lid.
They don't have lids, yeah.
Yeah. So it's floating all over the place.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we talked about like the towels and the sheets and how they hold this bacteria and how often you should clean them, but why is it you should clean them? Like, is it just gross, or can it be causing breakouts?
It can. Again, it's really about the condition of your own skin microbiome, because I'm not going to be, because you have to be careful about not being a germaphobe, and some people call me one, but to some extent. But on the other one, like some bacteria on your skin micro is okay. But if it is, like, I think also you're wiping various body parts as well. So presumably you're clean and the towel should be clean. But like I said, it's like what's growing on it after you leave the bathroom. It really depends on your bathroom environment. And if your towel stayed in a moist bathroom all day, I wouldn't be washing myself, because you can probably faint smell of mildew and bacteria. And I don't like, you're not going to feel fresh if you're wiping yourself with that, like mildew.
Yeah.
Especially after you just went to all that work to scrub
shower,
yourself. Exactly.
Right.
So, but again, I know people have, thresholds on how much laundry they can do. But that's why I say really look at your bathroom. And if you have a window, open your window if you have a little bit of a breeze coming through, because you want to circulate the air. Air circulation is important. And how long you leave your fan on. People think, oh, just turn my fan on while I'm in the shower. And then as soon as they get out of the shower, they wait until all the mist is gone and they shut the fan off. Leave the fan on for a minimum of 30 minutes after you've showered to really air out and get the air circulation going in the bathroom. But it's your bathrooms. That's why they say don't keep your skincare in the bathroom, which I know we all do, but that's where mold and mildew grow.
Yeah.
Is bathrooms are lethal.
Yeah. So so we'll leave the fan on for 30 minutes. There's linen sprays that have certain ingredients that could help. Is there anything else that could help keep this bedding or keep towels cleaner between washes?
That's, you know what, like a lot of people suggest vinegar, washing them in a vinegar rinse. But here's what I'll say about that is that you can do it once in a while, but vinegar can corrode your washing machine.
Oh.
And I was using it for a while in my dishwasher because I thought, I love that it's making all my glasses super clear, etc. Until the dishwasher repairman came to my house and said, I'm seeing some corrosion. And she said, are you using vinegar? And I said, yes. He goes, never use vinegar in your appliances. If you want them to last longer, it's too acidic.
Yep.
And they say that, like, you'll see it all over online. You'll read about it until my dishwasher repairman said no. And because I was putting like a cup in with my laundry because I thought it was helping freshen and kill some of that bacteria.
Right.
He said, why don't you pre-soak them in just don't do it in the washing machine.
Right.
Because if you want to keep your appliances in better working order, he said, do a vinegar soak. So again, like, I'm trying to be a realist and know that people are super busy. And when you have a big family, and that's a lot of work to ask someone to do. But you know what? If you can let them sit in water and vinegar before you throw them in the washing machine, if you have the luxury of having a little, laundry room or something where you can put them in, that's ideal.
Okay.
Vinegar is really good at getting rid of the odor and killing that bacteria, and it probably will push them a little longer. The other little trick is I always put baking soda. So what I do is I turn the washing machine on. I sprinkle baking soda in the water as it's filling. Then I throw my clothes in and then the detergent over top. Because when you do that, baking soda changes the pH of the water, which is a boost to the detergent. So it makes your detergent work even harder.
Oh, wow.
Because it boosts the power of the detergent. So I have a big box of baking soda in my laundry room, always. I use that for so many things.
Okay. These are great tips.
Yeah.
So then what about pillows and mattresses? Like, when it comes to pillows and mattresses, how important is it to keep those clean?
Very.
Okay.
But here's the thing. First, I want to teach, this is something I just learned recently, and I was like, oh, I just spent a fortune on a mattress cover, but it was an elastic mattress cover. What I should have bought is a bottom zip one, so that it encloses the mattress.
Completely. Oh.
Because dust mites can't get out if you trap them in there. Same, for a while there was that big bed bug thing, and some people have it, but dust mites you can't escape. If they come from our skin. They feed off our skin rather. And so if they're in your mattress, you, at least if they're like hermetically sealed in there, so that when you take the mattress cover off, you have definitely protected your mattress. It's better than one that just goes around.
Right.
So you can find full mattress covers. So that's my first piece of advice to listeners is, the next time you're looking for one, get one of those instead of the elastic ones.
Okay.
You need to wash your mattress cover. Like, if you have one of those, every 6 months is fine, but you should be taking the mattress cover off and letting your mattress air out as well. The other thing to keep it clean is baking soda. So I sprinkle baking soda on top of the mattress, let it sit there for an hour or two so that it pulls out any odors, just from, if it did pick up odors from some people who sleep hot and sweat, or it gets a little stale in there. And then I take the upholstery cleaner of the vacuum cleaner. Don't use a vacuum cleaner that you've used on your floor. Use the upholstery cleaner, make sure it's clean, and vacuum it out.
Okay.
Then put your clean mattress cover back over top. Pillows, same process, really. Well, pillows, to be honest, I wash those. I do it every time there's a long weekend because I sweat a lot. So I know my pillows will get. So I just remember, like, I pick some dates and I go, okay, when it's a long weekend, I'm going to throw my pillows in the washing machine, wash my pillows, and leave them outside to dry.
Okay.
And of course, I have pillow covers that are fully zipped as well, so dust mites can't get in there as well.
Okay, so pillow covers, mattress covers are going to be very helpful.
Very.
And pillows can go in the wash.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of them can. Check the washing instructions.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say all of them because some of them may not be. But what I'm 90% sure that most of them, I would hope, can be washed. And then you just take them out, even them out. And if you can, set them outside to dry and get them dried as quickly as possible.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And so kind of back to showers. I feel like there's a big debate between night showers and morning showers.
Oh, yeah.
Is one actually cleaner, or it doesn't matter?
You know what? And we actually just did a piece about that a few weeks ago, and the answer is, and we looked deep for a real, because people want to know definitively, is this one better than this one? And I looked everywhere for this research. And basically what it came down to is I took it from derms, and they said it's really personal preference. But if you are a night sweater and you shower at night and then sweat all night, you're going to have to deal with some body odor in the morning. Not to mention the fact that you're not going to have feel really fresh. So my feeling is, it depends on your lifestyle, but I would say, me personally, I always think hands down a morning shower is best, because if you're going into the office or work, other people can sense that, you are fresh,
right.
You're pretty fresh. It has, 8, 12 hours, 10 hours hasn't gone by since your shower, and especially if you sweat. So that's why I would say that morning showers will be your best bet.
Okay.
But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
It depends on lifestyle. If you've got 2 kids and it's crazy in the morning and night work better, then that's fine. And people ask about children, because a lot of people bathe their children at night. And that's for time saving, but it also helps children sleep, because the heat from the bath
right.
calms them down and puts them to sleep. Now, if you have a bedwetter, that's a different matter.
Yeah.
And then you have to do a little quick shower in the morning.
Yeah. Well, also another reason I ask is because, so if you shower in the morning and then you go spend your whole day out and about, when you get back into bed, or when you get home and put your pajamas on and get into bed, couldn't that be gross for the sheets?
It can be. And
Yes.
so people will say, yes, what about your sheets? And that is a very good point, especially if you've had a hot, humid day. So sometimes, even a sponge bath is not a bad idea. Like, definitely with the sweaty bits,
Okay.
is just wiping down before you put your pajamas on, so
Yeah.
you actually do feel fresher. But you be careful with the dangers of overbathing as well, because it can be hard on your skin microbiome, especially if you're somebody that has eczema or skin sensitivities. Washing twice a day, that's hard on the skin. So
Okay.
I would say, always remember that where the odor comes from, it's always those smelly bits. So you want the zone, and it's the feet, the groin, the underarms, and under the breasts and the chest area. That is, or in the back too. For some people, sweat a lot on the back as well, and of course your bum. That's a pretty dirty zone, and should be addressed. And everybody gets super embarrassed about it, but it's quite. Think about it. It's and the bidet is a whole different topic for another day, I'm sure, but that is quite a controversial topic as well. But I will say, not enough people talk about proper washing back there.
I actually have another debate to settle. A top sheet. Does that have anything to do with hygiene?
I think it has more to do with personal preference, to be honest with you, because I also noticed, it's funny you should ask that, because my husband and I were in Germany recently, and we were in a department store, and we noticed in their bedding section that they have a whole different sheet setup.
Oh.
It's very different than North Americans.
Interesting.
Yeah, they just have a fitted, and theirs is all about the duvet cover. And they change the duvet cover all the time.
Oh.
There is no top sheet.
Okay.
And I think my husband said to me, because he lived in Asia for a while, and don't quote me on this, but I think he said Asia was the same. Is that's a North American thing with the 2-set sheet thing.
Okay.
So I don't know the origins of that, and but I have seen some stuff on YouTube of a German girl that actually did a comment, because the German bedding situation is really quite unique.
Oh.
And I noticed that when I was in the department store too, and I went, oh, that's kind of different that they don't have top sheets.
Yeah, because I feel like I've had this debate with friends, like it's gross or unhygienic to touch your duvet cover, like have your duvet cover on your body. I never thought so, but I wasn't sure if that was a thing that you knew about or anything.
Well, it's a good one. And that actually requires further investigation. Like what other ethnicity, because I think it's different all around the world.
Yeah,
I
it's
know
like a
like
cultural
North
thing.
Americans, it's totally a cultural thing. But I think most duvet covers, like unless it's, super like an upholstery kind of cover, you should try to buy duvet covers that are like cotton, that it can be washed just like a sheet. And then why is that dirtier than if it's made of the same Egyptian cotton sheet or whatever. Why is that dirty? Or,
Right.
it's a psychological thing as long as you're washing it.
Yeah,
every
exactly.
week. And a lot of people don't like to change the duvet cover because it's work.
It's a
to
big
do.
job.
Yeah, it's a big job to do it. But
Mine is currently waiting for me to put it
Yeah,
on.
I know. I procrastinate too, but I just know it's got to be every second week.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to do a little lightning round.
Okay.
So I'm going to fire a few different hygiene habits at you, and you can say if we should keep it or clean it up.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, the first one, sleeping with wet hair.
Never.
Never? Why?
Never. You can get scalp fungus from that.
Wow, really?
Yes. And very controversial. I'm sure I'll get people commenting back, but it is a known fact. If you sleep with wet hair, it's anything wet, right? And so you need to dry it as fast as possible. That is the healthiest thing. Your sheets, your towels, you get them in a hot dryer as fast as you can. The faster you dry them, the less chance for bacteria to grow. And your scalp is the same. So if you go to sleep with a wet scalp, it has a chance for bacteria to grow and irritate your scalp. You need to dry your hair
Wow.
before you go to bed.
And the bacteria will breed in your head.
Yeah, and especially if you have long hair and you put it up wet,
Yeah.
which some women do, even worse. So no, you do have to dry your hair before you go to bed.
Oh wow. Okay. That was a good start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very firm on that.
Reusing your body towel for a week, keep it or clean it up.
I would say clean it up.
Every 2 days, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Using perfume instead of deodorant, keep it or clean it up.
Clean it up. And I think you heard me earlier in the thing saying that's why I'm so irritated by that.
Yeah.
Is that, and I know people are doing it, and I'm not saying they're dirty girls or dirty boys for doing it. I'm just saying there's not a lot of products out there that address that particular issue at the gym.
Yeah.
Which is usually when they don't want to shower because they don't want to shower. The showers aren't known for being super hygienic at a gym. So they just don't want to smell on the way home, or they want to go out and smell fresh. But putting fragrance over top of sweat, not a great idea.
Irritating, right?
Totally.
Okay.
And sweat and perfume, they don't mix very well.
Yeah. Because I feel like if you put perfume on and then you go out and you're outside sweating, the scent is gone, Yeah. So the sweat overtakes the perfume, and then it probably also interacts not great with each other. Okay. Sharing makeup brushes with your best friend, keep it or clean it up?
Clean it up. Never, never. It's like sharing a toothbrush. No.
It's like sharing a toothbrush?
Well,
wow.
The bacteria on someone's face, right?
Yeah.
Especially, if you're using a loose powder brush, something like that. I mean, it's picking up all their skin oils.
Wow.
And then you're going to transfer that onto your skin oils.
Yeah, not good.
I'm super careful with makeup brushes because I do think that they're responsible for a lot of breakouts. If you're not, I wash mine every day, and I know everybody goes, that's too much. But I'm like, no, I just have to wash my brushes after every
Good for you. I don't think it's too much. I think everyone else, we're all lazy, including me. I don't want to wash my makeup brushes, but I know I should.
Yeah, only because you have yesterday's oil on your makeup brush, and now you're reapplying it on, with your foundation. And
I think it's like last month's oil on the makeup brush.
Well, there you go. And it's like, honestly, it's not uncommon to do that. I see it. I worked in the beauty industry for a long time. I know that. But if that's the case, then buy yourself a brush, like something like even isopropyl alcohol. I'm telling you, that $1 that you spend or wherever it is now, maybe it's not $1 anymore at the dollar store, but whatever, like it's super inexpensive to buy isopropyl alcohol. At least it will kill the bacteria.
Very true.
And that's not a lot to ask, is spray that on your brush.
Yeah. No, I definitely know why it's wrong to not clean them. It's more so about just the action of doing it,
It's habit. It's habit. It's just learning a habit.
Yeah.
Maybe I spend too long in the bathroom in the morning. My husband always says to me, you have to do 30 products before you get out of that bathroom. And I go, yep, I have to get up earlier than you.
Wait, that brings up a good topic. What is your morning routine? I'm sure listeners would love to know.
Well, you know what? I love products, and I do like body products. That's why I make them. So, of course, I have at least 2 different soaps in my, I have 3. So I have a tea tree oil one because I want to wash my nails, my nail beds with tea tree oil because it's antibacterial. So I have a tea tree oil bar for my feet. I have one for my underarms and groin, and make sure that that's all clean. So then I have a nice tutti frutti eucalyptus wash that I love.
Yum.
And so that's in the shower. And I also use silicone is my other thing. So I threw out all my brushes and all my accessories in the bathroom when I found out how much plastic holds bacteria. So I bought everything silicone.
Wait, plastic holds bacteria?
Yes, it's porous.
Oh.
So the bacteria can go inside the little tiny micro holes in plastic and be held in plastic. So I always say, like, that's why surgical, a surgical room, you would never see a surgeon operating with any implement that's plastic.
No, yeah.
It's always stainless steel because stainless steel is antibacterial.
Wow.
But obviously I'm not going to, use stainless steel in my shower.
Yeah.
But silicone is the next best.
Okay.
So that's why I went. And it's very inexpensive. And I went to start looking for like my back scratch, my brush for silicone. I have a little scalp massager. I try to do that as often as possible to stimulate the blood flow in the scalp for healthy hair.
Are loofahs plastic?
Well, loofahs are made of a natural fiber, so they're very bad for bacteria.
Oh, they're even worse than the
I
plastic.
think they should be against the law.
Oh, wow.
So I'm coming to Congress, and I'm gonna advocate no loofahs allowed.
That's funny.
Yeah, because they grow bacteria.
Yeah. What could we use instead of a loofah?
Well, like I said, you can use silicone. There's all kinds of silicone brushes
products.
have come out. Honestly, they're everywhere now.
Okay, good to know.
And they will stimulate the areas like the skin and circulation, just like a loofah will.
Yeah.
But way more hygienic. So if they're sitting in, because water repels off them. So if they're sitting in, remember, like wherever there's water, that's where bacteria will grow. So that's why bathrooms are lethal. Kitchens can be lethal as well. So back to the routine. So I do all that in the shower, then I get out, and I love body oils, and I do like them particularly because I'm more mature skin type, and I'm worried about my neck. So I use extra moisturizing, and I use a body oil on my neck, so that I get a deep. Mix it with a moisturizer, I get deep moisturization on my neck.
Nice.
Got to pay attention to that. Arms and legs, switch it up in the winter months because I'm from Canada and it's super dry in the winter and then very humid in the summer. So I have to switch up my products according to weather. And that's why I cannot figure out why they don't make body products like summer body products and winter. And they actually say for winter skin, for summer skin.
That's smart.
Like that's what I'm working on something because I went, why is it that we don't address that? Like,
That's the best way to come up with like a new product. It's like something that bothers you. It's like, why don't I just do it?
I think of these crazy things when I'm in the washroom, because your mind's kind of at rest. Is the shower. Everybody thinks of things, and when I'm getting ready in the morning.
Yeah.
So that is one of the big things that I have. I also have special foot creams.
Love that.
Barry, we're going to be here all day about knowing my routine. My
I want to
husband's
know.
right.
I'm taking mental notes. I'm going to write this down when we're done.
Okay. Well, this is one. I'm usually a big fan of natural, but my podiatrist told me this because I was getting calluses on my feet that were driving me crazy because of the way I walk. And every time I was getting a pedicure, it was a lot of work to get rid of them. And I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? Like, should I be using a pumice stone every single day on my feet? And so I went to see a podiatrist, and you know what he told me? And he was so right, is lactic acid. And he said, or uric acid. And he showed me this product that he said, go to the drugstore, get 12% uric acid. And he said, use that on your feet. And it's a high intensity exfoliant for your feet, but it's in a cream form.
Okay.
So before I put my socks on in the morning, I just sit down and I rub, especially the areas where I get a lot of the calluses. And I will tell you, it's like a pedicure in a jar because it has kept my feet in such great shape. They are super soft. no cracked heels, like the calluses. You can see like it's not instant, but week over week, I can see them decreasing in size.
That's great.
And like I went, that is genius.
Yeah.
I want this product forever. And it's just a drugstore, and you can go. It'll say in large names, in I think it's 12%. He told me, and I think if you can go higher, go higher. And I just pump that on my feet before I put my socks on
every morning.
Every morning.
Okay.
And if you want to do it at night, but then you have to wash your feet and everything. So I do it in the morning before I get dressed. So that's one of my things. And then of course my sweat powder spray. So I have 3 steps for my underarms because I use natural deodorant and I sweat. So I wash with the underarm bar. Step 1. Step 2, apply generous amounts of charcoal deodorant. And then after that, I have that spray sweat powder. And that sweat powder is made with, the chalk that gymnasts use and weightlifters that dries the sweat in their hands?
Yes.
Well, I created this product when I was at a store one day with my husband, and it was like a REI. In Canada, it's called Mountain Equipment Co-op, and I was bored out of my mind. He was like, I don't know what he was buying, stuff for whatever. And I saw these guys gathered around. They were rock climbers. They were gathered around the table for the hand chalk. And I was listening to what they were saying, and I was like, why don't they use that in a sweat powder?
Yeah.
If it dries out sweat. Like, I mean, gymnasts count on that. It's kind of life and death. If they miss that bar, the uneven bar, when their hands are all sweaty, that's pretty serious. So obviously this stuff works. So I bought a bunch of chalk. I went off to my chemist and I said, can you make a sweat powder with this? And she started to laugh and she said, if I did that, I would give every one of your customers a rip-roaring rash. And I went, oh, really? And she goes, yeah. And the underarms, you know how I told you before that underarms is very different micro environment. She said, no, but we can put other things in with it. You can use that, then balance it off with other things. And so we used rice starch. We used climber's chalk. We used apple cider vinegar because it gets rid of odor, powdered apple cider vinegar. And we made it into a powder with a beautiful scent. And so I just spray that over top of the deodorant. So think about it like a setting powder for your makeup. It's the setting powder for my deodorant, which means if I start sweating like crazy, that rice starch will grab that extra sweat.
Right.
And so will the climber's chalk will grab it. So because I don't want wet underarms. I will say, like when it's 110 degrees or you're nervous, nothing's going to stop you from sweating.
Right.
Like it's just, but it makes you feel fresher. And the other thing I always tell people is never, ever put deodorant on sweaty underarms. It's not intended for sweaty underarms. You have to wash your underarms, dry your underarms, and then put it on. So if you're at work, as if you're going to be able to do that, no. But what you can do is keep that sweat powder in your purse, lift up your top and spray your underarms with the sweat powder.
Okay.
And it'll absorb, and the apple cider vinegar will help so that you don't smell. And if you want to go out for drinks at night, you can spray it all over your body. You feel so much fresher before you go out. So I call it my little shower in a bottle.
Oh, I love that.
And off I go. So that's my body routine.
That's perfect.
We won't start with my makeup because we'll be here all night. But in any event, that is it.
Oh, I love that. So it brought up another thing that I want to add to the lightning round.
Okay.
Have you seen people using those like foot pads that they sleep in them and then they take them off in the morning and there's like all this gunk on the pad?
Oh, yes.
What are those called?
Yeah, I know which ones you mean. I've seen them in a lot. It's very big in Asia, to be honest. You see them in, not that I've been there, but I went in Toronto. We have a lot of Chinese malls, and I see them everywhere.
Okay.
It's some sort of Chinese medicine belief
Okay.
that the bottom of your feet kind of dictate your health.
Right.
And they'll say it's kind of detoxing. I honestly don't know if that is marketing BS or if there's real science behind that. Because I believe that you cannot, I know one thing for sure. You can only detox through your liver and your kidneys. So I don't think you can detox through the bottom of your feet.
Okay. So we're not sure if we're keeping it or cleaning it up.
No.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that.
Good to know. Because I feel like that's become like trendy
It is.
as of late.
Or fatty.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So not sure about that, but one thing we are sure about, you can only detox through your kidneys and your liver. So
Okay.
it's internal.
Good to know.
So I don't like to say, we use the term detox very loosely in the English language, but that's what medical professionals have always reminded me of. You can't really say detox unless it's orally.
Right. Okay. What about sleeping in yesterday's PJs?
That's an interesting question, actually. And again, I think it really is about how much you sweat at night. And you know, if they still feel fresh, then I think maybe 2 nights is okay. But if you're a hot sleeper and you get sweaty, I do think you should change up the pajamas frequently. But I do think it's okay. And again, being a realist, you know, you could spend most of your life doing laundry.
Okay.
And so, you know, I look at people's lifestyles, but I would say smell them.
Yeah. Okay.
That should be your indicator.
Yeah. This one's really interesting. Wearing deodorant to bed, keep it or clean it up?
Okay. So that one is actually, you will see online very often, and I keep saying online because I think that's where most people are these days, is derms recommending you wear antiperspirant to bed. And the reason for that is antiperspirant takes longer, especially at clinical strength. You know, when some people they may even have that condition called hyperhidrosis, which is an extreme sweating condition. But they'll often say that your antiperspirant will work better for you if you wear it at night, because when that aluminum chloride, it takes time for it to turn into a gel. So the longer you give it to turn into a gel and get into the pore, the better the response rate in the morning. So that's why they'll say put it on at night, copious amounts, and then you'll have full protection by morning. It'll already be in the pore. Deodorant, there's no science. If you're afraid that you're going to smell it and your partner will smell you or whatever, you know, when you're sleeping with someone, but if you're alone, there's no point in putting deodorant on unless you're worried about how you're going to smell if you're sweating and smelling. But I would say don't do it.
Yeah.
To be honest, give your skin time to breathe.
Okay. So today I'm learning I'm doing everything wrong.
No, but it's not wrong. It's just, like I said, it's making the distinction between antiperspirant and deodorant. So if you are wearing an antiperspirant, yes, there is a logic behind putting that on at night because you don't want to smell at night. That's your biggest concern.
Right.
Yeah. I understand that, and it's not crazy, but that is what I've heard. I don't think you need that many hours for the aluminum chloride to be activated, but I have seen so many derms recommend that they use antiperspirant at night.
Interesting.
Because they say that it takes that long to get through your system.
Okay. Another thing we're going to change after
Hey,
this.
there you go.
After this conversation.
We'll try it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, nothing's written in stone. Like, there's not a lot of science behind a lot of this, so I would say try it.
Yeah. Okay.
Personal preference.
So before we wrap up, I have one last question for you. What's one underrated hygiene habit that you wish everyone did, but no one really talks about?
Well, I'm going to go back. I'm going to sound like a broken record because I do think that the vast majority of body odor comes from your underarms. Mm-hmm. So I am going to say I wish people would stop washing their underarms quickly and would start really paying attention to really cleaning their underarms. And I think people will notice a significant difference in the performance of their deodorant. And I can't even begin to say, like, if I read sometimes the reviews that underarm bar that my company makes, and what people say, it's like game changer, this changed everything, now natural deodorant works for me, all of that. And when I see that, it makes me feel so good. And that is one that I think I just wish more people knew, to wash your underarms longer and with better products. And you will see a big difference in how you smell.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're
I
very
feel like I've
welcome.
learned so much today. I feel like our listeners have learned so much today. And these topics are so important to cover because, you know, it's things that are unsexy and that people don't want to talk about, and it's uncomfortable and it's embarrassing, but it's important. You know, it's our bodies, it's our hygiene. So yeah, thank you so much for coming and for, informing everyone. And if you want to tell our audience, where they can find you on social media, your company, please go ahead.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, at Madam Sweat, it's kind of an easy name to remember, is you can find more of my tips every single week. We have a really dynamic team that works very hard to deliver useful things for people. For home hygiene as well as body hygiene. So you can find me on social.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Face It, where we get real about what works and what doesn't.